2.
All right, all right, nice,
I was
nice.
trying to put on my face
Yeah,
for
you're,
stage readiness, and all I did was look
yeah,
like a fool.
nothing. Yeah.
Okay, so these
What's up,
headphones
bro?
are junk. These headphones are
Yeah,
junk.
those
That's what we learned.
headphones are garbage.
Chunk 'em.
Just
That's
15,
it.
20 minutes
Chunk
trying
'em.
to
We
fuss with
spent.
these headphones.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, those are done.
That's
That
outrageous.
day is done.
I'm
What I'm glad.
I'm wrapping them up, and I'm going to put them in a coffin
Yeah,
somewhere. This drawer.
yeah, they
Yo,
need to
what's
head
going
for
on?
Goodwill or the garbage,
I
man.
know. I know.
But no, man, it's things are going good over here. We just
Yeah.
had a very long slash short weekend.
Mhm.
We did another one of the hosting for the Japanese kids,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it was a
That's
lightning
cool.
round, man. It was 24 hours this time. Last time it was like a
Mhm.
whole weekend. This time it was literally one day,
Oh
and
wow. Uh huh.
it was. And we had, instead of two boys, we had four this time.
Oh, okay. That's cool. It
I
sounds. I
had
guess
to
that's
double
fun
it
then.
up. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. So it was fun though. We went to the beach and we did
Mhm.
like a classic American barbecue. Same thing we did with the last kids that we had, but this
Mhm.
time we did it like at the beach because we just our cars can only fit two people each here. Actually, Joanna's car can fit like one and a half people, maybe like a half person
Okay.
in the back if they curl themselves up. And it's
All
her.
right.
Like she can't drive because
Uh-huh.
her car is like you don't understand. Yeah, for our listeners who have never been to Japan, the cars are naturally smaller here. Just everything's a
Mm.
little bit more compact here in Japan. But my wife's car is like think of like a regular sedan type car, like a Toyota Corolla or a Toyota Camry or something like that, and slice half of it off. That's her car.
Oh no. Okay.
That's the car. It's literally
Oh
half a
no.
car.
Oh.
So yeah, that's not gonna work. So we have to use my
Uh-huh.
car, which has no air conditioning, which is
It's a Chevy Chase movie. National
yeah, man.
Lampoons.
No
Uh,
air conditioning. It's the middle of the summer. You know it's hot as hell.
oh
And
God.
yeah. So luckily we had some summer storms come in this weekend. There was a little bit of
Mm.
rain, some wind, but man, it was hot when I picked them up.
Man.
So
Oh.
yeah, but that was what we did this weekend. So we were just dead
Okay.
tired. Like last night after we dropped
Yeah.
him off and got back here, because we had to pick him up like pretty far away. I had to drive like 45 minutes to go pick him up and drop him off.
Mm.
So I was just done. I was spent, man. So I was like, man, I can't do anything. And
Yeah. Yeah.
just kind of had to recover. Went to bed early. Went to bed like 9:30 last night. Just too
Okay.
tired.
Okay.
But what about you, man? What's going on over there?
Okay. So we had a couple things going on, and so I guess the main highlight of my week is that I am in the end of week 1 of 3 weeks of a temporary crown for my tooth, and I am
Oh, a tooth
in
thing. Oh man.
constant pain, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
Constant
Tooth
pain. So you said
ain't no
you
pain
went to
like
bed
tooth pain.
early. Oh no, no, man.
No.
So you said you went to bed early. I tried. I was so tired, but then I just keep waking up in the AM, the early AM,
Yeah.
4. I woke up at 3:03 a couple of days ago, and I woke up at 4:27 today. Just pain. I just and they said don't eat sweet, don't eat crunchy, don't eat stuff,
Don't eat.
very stuff.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me because I eat Tang. I'm like,
Oh
Tang is like a
God,
staple.
that's right.
And I told them when I was like, yeah, so I buy the little jar of Tang, and that is my candy. I take a spoon, and Shanna got used to seeing me standing in the kitchen with the spoon. Just
Wow.
that
Dang.
is what I do, and I'm
That's
totally
funny.
destroying my teeth. But now, I mean, I can't do it. I can't eat Tang, can't eat popcorn. All the
Yeah, no
all the
popcorn.
all my drink is like
Sweet
sweetish,
wine, yeah, stuff
like
like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
man. And so I try to obey the rules, but I found that I truly cannot eat anything without pain, like anything.
Yeah,
And I think
yeah.
that because it's temporary, it's there, it's gonna come off, but it's
Mhm.
sensitive to cold and hot and
Yep,
sweet and
cold,
like
hot.
every single thing I eat, and it was so bad I actually had to go get medicine. And usually I just kind of
Mhm.
ride it out in
Yeah,
terms of
yeah,
pain
yeah.
because
No,
there's no
tooth
telling when.
pain.
you
There's
know.
nothing you can do.
Yeah,
There's
and
yeah,
I'm
man.
typically
Oof.
able to sit there, but oh man, my face, like from here
Yeah.
to my like my left eye all the way down just to my
Yeah.
mouth, that whole side. I feel like the Phantom of the Opera in terms of like how much of my face feels like
Yeah, man.
is revolted. So that was thing, but I've been trying to basically keep good spirits about it because complaining about it's not going to
No,
suddenly make your
exactly.
face better.
Yeah.
So I
No.
mean, it sucks. But in other news, today was the uh, the grand debut of Schmitty, the robot vacuum.
What's
So
that?
Schmitty, the robot
Schmindy.
vacuum that Shanna was threatening to buy all this time because she was like, "Look, I'm tired of vacuuming this place." So we got a robot vacuum,
You got a robot.
and
Oh, okay. It's a robot.
yeah,
Okay, I
it's
got
a
you. I got you.
robot vacuum, and this guy, he's a lot better than I'm sorry, I'm digging in my eye. Not supposed to be doing this on
Yeah.
here. My eye itches, my face hurts. I mean,
Oh,
if we have a video version of this, then audience, you're just gonna have to excuse me.
you're
I'm in
gonna
the
have
wrong
to.
room.
Hey,
I'm in pain.
the
We
man's in
had a
pain.
robot vacuum. I mean, I'm just gonna go ahead and be
Robot vacuum knocking on the
untrained
door.
today.
You all
I
right
haven't
in there?
shaved.
How you doing? I'm
I,
checking on you. How is that robot vacuum? They seem kind of like a little weak to me. Like they can't
Okay,
have a
no,
lot of
well,
power. You
all
know?
right. So we were reading the reviews, and that's what it said. You would think it's not picking up anything, and Shannon came in at some point and was like, "It can't find dog hair." Okay, but then it was full.
Mm,
It said it was full.
yeah.
We opened it up, freaking full of dog hair. Though
Right. Of
it's
course.
quiet, and you don't know that it's doing anything, but it's doing a lot.
Hmm.
And we caught some video of the dogs kind of getting used to it because our two of our dogs they bark at anything that moves in
Mm-hmm.
the house. And
Yeah.
then one dog's crying and howling, and she fired it up, and our oldest Sam, he was so upset about it. He was like, they just
Mm.
making different kinds of noises. One's like, oh, ah. It's so
Get this thing out of
and it's
here,
and it's
Schmitty.
just it's just traveling quietly. It's fairly
Yeah.
quiet, okay. And so the
Yeah.
dogs kind of chased it, and I came out because I tend to like calm the dogs down. I came out, I was like, okay, Chico, Rachel,
Yeah.
Sam, look, watch. We're just gonna follow him around. And
Right.
so the whole family followed Schmitty around for a good 15 minutes. We were
Yeah.
just watching him try to figure out the
Familiarization.
house. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's bumping into walls a little bit, but
Mm-hmm.
we were waiting for him to find his first room because he was all in the halls. And then
Mm-hmm.
eventually he found the kitchen as his first room. He rolled up on
Mm-hmm.
things and he was doing a good job, doing a good
Okay.
job. So
Nice.
yeah, that was the entertainment for today. Um,
Cool.
yeah, and other than that, it's just been marathon work, just working
Marathon
and
work.
working. Oh yeah, I'm in a limbo state in my job. Because of I'm
Mm.
switching teams, and
Oh, cool.
yeah,
Cool.
I can't talk too much about it, but
Yeah.
the gist of it is that in this weird limbo state, which I will have been in for 2 months by the time I figure out where I'm going to go next.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of like presenting things and like
Yeah.
middle of the road kind of passing knowledge from the old team and stuff.
Yeah.
And man, it is so weird because it feels kind of like going door to door and all these stakeholders and all these
Yep.
departments and all
Yep.
these people, and they've never seen anything you've done. So you have to
Right.
come in here and be like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny because the people we're working with from the new team, she comes in, she's presenting and stuff, and this happened on Friday. It's like, oh yeah, we're gonna convey our research and stuff that we were working on, and she introduces it, and then, hey, you remember that Bugs Bunny episode where all the doctors were sitting stone faced?
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah. I think.
Yeah, okay, it's like that. It's like that.
Yeah.
We're on Zoom, lots of blank screens, and then the screens that aren't blank, people are like,
Mm.
hmm,
Yeah.
hmm,
Deep thought.
hmm, hmm. Ah.
Yeah.
And they don't know you, and I don't know if they don't
Yeah.
believe you. They
That's
don't care what
interesting.
you're saying. They don't believe you. So she comes in and she introduces us, and it's an hour long meeting. And after minute one, she says, okay, I guess I'm gonna hand it over to Ajani and he's gonna explain the research. I'm like, what? She just
Wow.
she got on stage.
Just
Okay, okay, here, I'm gonna pass the mic to you. The rest of
yeah,
the
let me pass
concert's
the
yours.
mic.
I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, I didn't know I was doing this.
No prep,
So
nothing. Oh
I
man.
came in and like a classic freestyle rhyme. Oh, I got on there and I rocked it,
Yeah.
dude. I said,
Oh,
okay, yeah, thank
nice.
you.
Awesome.
So what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna give you some context for what this strategy board looks like and this and that
Wow.
and this, and I was just
That's what's
rambling.
up, man.
I was just going and
Yeah.
did it not once, but twice. It was
Wow.
there in the first meeting, and then I knew I was going to do it on the second meeting, but it was a different group of people with different questions and different levels of
Mm,
scrutiny.
of
And I was
course,
just,
yeah.
man, like I show
Brief.
up, I still have my bandana, not the purple one,
Mm-hmm.
but like the black one, and I know I at this point, I'm 43 years old. I know I'm raggedy. There's nothing I can do
Right.
about it. So
Right.
these people are
Yeah.
managers,
I
whatever,
know, right. Their
and
suits, yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
no, yeah, the pictures that they have like smiling faces and the suit and the
Mm-hmm. They got
background and stuff.
headshots,
And
professional lighting,
me,
everything.
I got a black Zoom screen that
You got a
says
black,
Abdul
yeah,
Khalik Ajani,
that's
and
funny.
my camera's real low,
Yeah.
so I'm up here with like God mode
Wow.
talking to these people. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because I'm not ever going to be promoted to their level, and my only job is to kick the knowledge and be out.
Right.
So I said, I don't know
Yeah.
how y'all
Of
feel
course.
about strategy rap, but look, here it is.
Yeah, let's
And they
do
were
it.
like, okay, 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 all right. So
That's
yeah,
what's up, man.
collar pop. That's all it was.
Yeah.
Anyways,
No, I love that like when and I love how you like kind of set that up, right? Like you're like when you surprise people, when
yeah,
you
yeah,
they got
man.
this expectation, they see your name, Ajani Abdul Khalik, and they assume certain things, and then it's like, okay, well, here we go. Welcome to the concert of Abdul Khalik.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just thinking about that yesterday because I don't know if you know this. I don't think I mentioned this to you, but I actually took over this month as the president of a local chapter of Toastmasters over
Oh
here.
yeah, yeah, that's right. That was in the
Yeah.
works. Yeah,
So I am
that's a real
officially,
responsibility.
it
They have
is, it
they have
is,
like packets and stuff. They got like procedures for how the
bro. Right
y'all have
before
the
we
bell,
got, we don't have the bell. See, we don't have a lot of stuff over here.
but y'all
We
do
don't have
like tap on stuff when people are like, yeah,
no, it's funny when that happens at this club because they'll just
okay.
go because we got Japanese and American members.
Oh no! So, oh, there's a lot of
So
arm
they'll
and
just go,
um.
"Oh my god, it's so funny, man." So they'll just call time. They won't even tap on anything. They'll just be like, "Time." And they'll just like very respectfully say, "Okay, thank you. You're done." Like there's no bells, there's no lights.
Oh no!
It's just time.
Oh, that's so awkward if you're new. I
If you're
guess if you're
new,
not
right?
new, it's
Yeah.
funny. If you're not new, it's amusing, I'm sure. Because I
So,
remember, and you probably remember this too. First time you get up there in Toastmasters and
yeah,
you run out of time, you just looking around like, what,
I'm out of
what?
time.
I
I'm
have more to
done.
say.
I know.
I bet
I had a
you give
lot
me the
more to
hook.
say,
You give me the hook.
and here comes
Yeah,
the king
what?
to snatch you off stage. The Bugs Bunny cartoon.
By the neck, body flying
Yep,
behind you.
you're just
Yeah.
gone. Hat flapping in the wind.
With us,
But
we
no,
had the
man.
bell. They went
Yeah, yeah.
ding.
In my
You were
last
like,
club, we had like a
yeah.
stoplight thing, so we
Oh
would
yeah.
be like
Oh
30
yeah.
seconds. Yeah, and so you could clearly see that was at my first club. But this
Yeah.
one, no, no such thing, man. Well, they do
Oh
have
wow.
like the cards for official
Okay.
speeches, but table
Okay. Okay.
topics, everything else, it's
Oh,
just
table topics. Yeah. Oh yeah. That
you're
was
done.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's some good
So
stuff.
yeah, man, I've come in and I think it's been re-energizing for the club. In fact, I know it has been because I'm trying to introduce some new blood into Toastmasters because I mean I know it's been a while since you've been involved with Toastmasters, and let's
Hmm.
give some context for our listeners. If you've never heard of Toastmasters, it's a public speaking club and it's been around for a long time, nearly 100 years, and it's worldwide, it's international, and the point of it is to help you improve your public speaking. So wherever you're at in
Hmm.
the world, there's probably a Toastmasters club. Maybe you don't know it, but it's
Hmm.
probably there. It's
Yeah.
probably, I don't know, maybe it's not that big,
Except for
but
Glenville. I mean, we don't have one. But
yeah, you probably
but
have to go to Atlanta or Jacksonville or something
yeah.
if you really wanted
Yeah.
to do it now. But yeah, so I taken over this club. I've noticed when I was in the club. So I started going to this club about a year ago, and I noticed there's this kind of like graying going on with Toastmasters. At least over here in
Mm,
Japan. I don't know
mm,
if that's just a reflection of like the Japanese population, which it is. It does skew
mm.
older in general,
Yeah.
but Toastmasters skews like much older. Like the
Yeah.
average
Yep.
member over here is
Hmm.
like probably 50 plus, and
Mm.
that's probably not an
That was
exaggeration.
true for 45 us
plus.
too.
Yeah.
In the chapter I was in San Antonio, it was.
Yeah, and I think and
I
part
feel
of it
like.
is
Go ahead.
they've
Yeah.
just
Sorry.
forgotten a lot of younger people, they're used to they're more used to digital communications, like
Yeah.
getting up in front of a stage and getting in people like talking to people face to face, even in a
Hmm.
professional setting is not it doesn't have to be the norm anymore. Like it's going
Yeah.
across Zoom
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
and of course that gives certain advantages. You can communicate from anywhere at any time, but that face-to-face interaction, man, it's such a powerful
Yeah.
tool and you use it when you know how to use it. When you don't just
Yeah.
okay, like your example that you gave. You were asked to give this presentation. You could have just kind of just phoned it in and kind of just been
Hmm.
like, well, I wasn't expecting to do this brief or this talk, so I'm just gonna give bare minimum and get through. But no, you kind of just ran with it. And I think that's an opportunity that everybody has when you can speak in public, in
Yeah. Yeah.
person, or even online, like you did. It doesn't matter if it's really in person, but
Hmm.
I feel like those skills are not as valuable to younger people. And maybe younger people listening
Yeah.
to this are like, what do you know? But I'm just going by what I see. I work in a high school
Yeah.
and I definitely see younger people. I work with younger people pretty regularly. And it's a lot of this. It's a lot of, you know, phones and
Yeah,
screens and
and also the communication is really informal. I've
yeah,
noticed it more since moving to Georgia, and I
yeah,
think it's because honestly, for good reasons, it's that I see more people out here in Georgia than I see in San Antonio. San Antonio's a big city, so you've got
yeah,
this anonymity, and the people that you know are
of
in your
course,
local circle. But
yep,
out here in Georgia, you actually go into the businesses, you go into the shops, and you talk to the people, and they
mm-hmm,
talk to you, and it is
yeah,
not a big box store or something like that. So the communication is more apparent, and oh my goodness, it's so informal though. And I
yeah,
actually find out in Georgia that I have to kind of adjust my speaking. So
yeah,
I have to use in. I mean, there's a way of speaking in Georgia,
yeah, yeah,
where I mean, it's a trust thing in terms of the
yep,
culture. So,
mm-hmm,
for example, I said there's a
yeah,
way of speaking in Georgia, but if I were going to the store, I might say there's a way of talking in Georgia, and
of course, yeah,
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 I would sound something more like, and it's not trying to put on like a Georgia accent or anything, but if I were, okay, I'm switching modes now. If I were talking to you in Georgia, I'd be like, oh, it's that kind of it's that kind of thing where
yeah,
it's really gonna we just really want it to hit, and you want to make sure that the person gets you. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm, yeah.
And it's just a slight. Okay, I'm out
It's
of
a
that
small,
mode. It's a
yeah.
very subtle difference, but there's some things that you start using those words like
And
it looks
it
jargony.
helps too. It helps too because it's the same over here in Japan. When speaking English, it's normal to talk slower, and it's normal to
Hmm.
use. At least I try. Especially since I know a good amount of Japanese now, I try and use simpler words,
Yeah.
simpler and
Yep.
shorter words that they're more likely to understand if you're talking to
Yeah.
someone who's a non-native English speaker, like a Japanese person over here. And it does help, during
Mm.
speeches and when I was talking to some of the kids the other day, just yesterday, like it helps when you're trying to explain things. Just
Yeah.
use there's a cadence that helps, them because they do know some English, but
Yeah.
if you use too complex of words or you talk too fast, then
Hmm.
they're not going to get it. You're going to miss. So
So I'm amazed at my job because it's a very professional setting and everything like that. But dude, the communication is really it's so ingrained to be polite and be respectful to the other people in the room
nice.
that again with something like Toastmasters, you get used to people
You
pausing
Yeah.
and the uhs and the ums, and it's almost as if the the default communication level goes a little bit down because it's
Mm.
understood that there's consideration going on. So we learn
Right.
in the Toastmasters thing that, maybe, well, what I just said, fillers
Right.
and filler
Yeah.
words. Well, you're thinking about what you're saying, and
Right. Of course.
it's an extra while you load. People want to know that you're loading though, and you're thinking
Right.
about how you
That is
present.
true.
So in the job, when we're presenting something very technical, or just something strategic, people do kind of expect you to go in there, and I'm just surprised at how many times folks have these meetings over these high level things, and proceed to communicate very like this. They don't know what they came there for,
Right.
you
I mean,
know.
and sometimes it's just I mean, and I think about that. Some people are just
Hmm.
technicians, like
Yeah.
they're not they it's hard for them to in their mind, they know exactly what they're doing. But when it comes
Hmm.
time to explain their thinking and their process, it gets difficult because everything's been up here and it's all this kind of
Yeah.
internal space where all the process is happening, that when somebody says, "Okay, that's great. How did you do that?" or "What should we do to,
Hmm.
use what this awesome thing that you created?" and
Yeah.
it doesn't come out correctly. And I feel
Yeah.
like that's why I'm a big fan of writing, man. Like, I feel like writing is good. I wrote something about this on Twitter the other day, but it just helps you clarify your thinking. It helps you sharpen up and order your thinking in some way. Even if you're just writing a list, even if you just go through,
Hmm.
okay, how did I do this thing? Okay,
Yeah.
I A, B, C, D, whatever, how many steps, and then cool. Now you have some type of framework in your mind of how did this thing come to be? Because until you
Hmm.
start writing stuff down, it's just ideas in your head. And especially if you're somebody that's been doing a process for many, many years, and you just know how to do it intuitively. Like, it's so easy to you that you don't even think, you don't have to think about it because it's like a muscle memory.
Hmm.
It's like standing up or walking. You don't even have to think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then it's even more important for you to write that stuff down, because when somebody asks you, "Hey, how do you do that? How do you do it so fast?" Then
Okay.
that
So
tacit this tacit knowledge, that's what they call it, tacit knowledge. That
yeah.
is so
Yeah.
hard to pass on. And I was reading this essay a couple of
Okay.
months
It
ago.
is. It
It's
is.
so
And
hard to like teach somebody like what
hmm.
like transfer what's in my brain to your brain. I can write it
Yes.
down, but I can't give you the muscle memory. I can't give you
Yeah.
the exact
Yeah.
process in my life that I went to learn this
Hmm.
skill. You kind of have to go through it, the journey on your own, to get
Yeah,
it down.
dude. So so there was a thing that was going on this week in that transition period at work. I I got so lost on a technical matter this week, and
Uh,
it's more than a technical matter. It's like the kind of the future direction that I
yeah.
might go in terms of project, and
Wow.
it was it was so bad that that so as always, I've got two trains of thought that I'm trying to convey. One is over here, one's over there. So a little bit of a digression. There's a thing I do, and it has to do with handling challenges, right? If I'm on the road driving and there's a tight
Hmm.
situation coming,
Yeah.
I
Mm.
speed up because there's just something about it to get it out of the way or whatever.
I see.
If I'm going on a narrow road here,
Hmm.
um, and there's somebody who doesn't seem to be respecting the line as they're coming towards you, I'll
Mm.
do my maneuvers, but I'll speed up because to me there
Mm.
isn't much of a difference between, a head-on collision
True.
at 50 and a head-on collision, you know,
Yeah, it's true. You're dead
55.
either way.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So for me, it's like I see the car coming and I'm like, and I'll actually, and this is I've always done this, and I just remember
Mm.
being in San Antonio,
Interesting.
going between two 18-wheelers, and I'm never like that. This is the area
I
of
know.
I-10 and
That's
410,
always, oh,
and the
yeah.
18-wheelers are merging off of
Yeah.
410, and the
Yeah,
I-10 one's
yeah.
coming, and
You
you're
don't know
there,
if
you
they're just
like,
about to just
yeah, and you see the walls kind of coming like this.
the
What do?
walls.
I speed the hell up. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay,
hell yeah. Getting out
speed
of there.
racer, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
because part of it's getting out of there, but most of it for me is like sitting here being worried it's not gonna do it.
Right.
You just
True.
you make it just
Hey,
make it pass.
go in.
Okay. So
Yeah.
what happened at work this week was that we got into a software thing, which requires some technical skill, and if you've been doing this particular task,
Mm-hmm.
then it's second nature to you, muscle memory, as you're saying. They're
Right.
trying. My teammates, I got two, are trying to convey it to me, and I I, I just don't understand. And
Mm.
one of them is pretty good at it. One of them is newish at it, and then there's me,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't get it at all. Like not at
Mm-hmm.
all. And
Right.
and and they were it was almost if they were just talking Greek,
Right.
truly. And I at some point when I got real confused, like the first day, they said, "Okay, we all agree that we're going to do this thing on this project,
Mm-hmm.
programming stuff and Linux stuff and like stuff that I don't like. I don't
Mm-hmm.
like it. It's like Shannon knows that I hate I don't like using the H word, hate. But let me tell you,
Mm.
I hate Sudoku. Like hate it.
Uh,
There's something about what it requires you to do. You're like,
right.
oh, I think I'm
Yeah.
going to solve this corner. Oh no, wait, this corner is attached to this row, attached to this row,
Yeah.
attached to this
Yeah.
other thing. And I was doing Sudoku. I thought I didn't hate it for a while, and then I got to one of those puzzles where this could be a one or a one, or a nine or a nine, or
Mm-hmm.
a seven or a seven, or this over here. And I was like, okay, this pisses me off because yeah,
Mm.
I want.
Yeah.
I feel like somebody's screwing with me. They turn the
Yeah.
cups over, they put the shell in. Okay, I said,
Yeah. Yeah.
stop that,
Shell game.
stop that. You're making
Mm-hmm.
me mad. And so this was what this programming task was. It was some Linux
Mm.
stuff, and there was some configuration stuff, and you click
Mm-hmm.
this over here, but it could be this or this, or it could be that or that. And
Right. No
finally, I
definitive.
was
Mm-hmm.
like, like driving through two 18-wheelers. I turned my camera on because usually my camera's off for bandwidth purposes. I
Mm-hmm.
turned my camera on and I let them see how confused I was. And I was like, okay, guys, I'm sorry. I'm, I just, I don't get this. I said, this must be
Yeah.
karma for me and my math students because I remember standing up there, smug as can be, teaching math.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
why don't you guys get this?
Yeah.
And my students were like, screw you,
Yeah.
man.
Forget you. Yep.
And it's like I don't get it, and I'm not sure that I care to get it, and I'm not sure
Right.
when I'm going to use it.
Mm-hmm.
And you stand up there as a teacher, well, you're going to use this every day. Okay, my
Mm-hmm.
my my colleagues were like, well, you're going to use this every day as a programmer. They were nicer about it, but they were like,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
you might really want this skill for the next thing you end up doing. I'm like, I know, but
Mm-hmm.
I sure hope I don't do it, honestly,
Right.
and I don't want to see it anymore. And also, I can't get it on my working on my computer. I'm struggling here, and so I sat there for like 5 minutes and told him I don't understand this,
Mm.
and you and it was weird because I never thought of what it might mean to have a learning disability. I don't have a learning disability,
Mm.
but I was telling Shanna like
Yeah.
I felt myself in in a kind of learning disability position in the sense that
Right.
you decide how you're going to sit there in the classroom when you know you're just not following. And
Right.
I learned what Ajani's alter ego was for that situation. It was that
Mm.
placid smile, like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
trying to
Yeah.
be
Yep.
cooperative in class.
That
Yeah, oh
student.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And
Cooperative
you
student.
you 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 really like the teacher, and you trying to
Smile
listen,
and
you
nod.
trying to take
Yeah.
notes. And then the teacher's like,
But.
okay, can you add this? Can you do this? I'm like, no, no.
Mm.
Are you bothered that you can't do it? I asked myself. I said, like internally, I said, should I know this? I mean,
Right.
I know I'm a software engineer, but should I know this? I
Right.
feel like
This
I
should be
should,
easier.
but
What's going
I
on?
just don't. I just don't get it. And then
Yeah.
and it was one of those things to where they start using they say, okay, this is dealing with memory, dealing with
Mm-hmm.
a
Yeah. The memory
something
stuff. Ugh.
something, and they
Yeah.
doing that one word, and it all just my brain like, okay, yeah, but what is that? They say,
Right.
well, that's a what should I call it? I'm like, I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
I no.
Mm-mm.
That was my second half of my week, and maybe there's a moral to that story. I still don't understand it. It does not have a happy ending, and no, I didn't figure it
Yeah.
out.
No.
So
Yeah. There's some
it's going to be
things.
as confusing tomorrow when I log back in as it was on Friday.
No, there's some things, man, and when I was thinking about when you were saying like, yeah, there's just like that student that sitting there that doesn't understand. As teachers, we've both seen that, and I've been on the other
Mhm.
side of it as well, where you're just so frustrated. For me, it's like I was always like this in school too. As long as I can like keep the flow of the lecture, and I think that's why because I tend to be a very good audio learner. I think that's why I've gravitated
Mhm.
towards
Yeah.
podcasting and stuff like that. Because I just all you have to do is tell me what is happening. I don't even really need to see it. If you just keep talking to me,
Mhm.
then I'm going to get it. But what
Yeah.
what happens with me is that if I even lose focus for I don't know, I'll lose focus for like a critical piece of time. And this happened. I
Yeah.
can remember a couple of times in school where this happened in a few classes where I don't know if I was talking to somebody or if I was just that day I was like thinking of something else or whatever, but then I'm lost because I can't bridge the gap
Mm.
between like I was following, and then I lost
Yeah.
it, and then now the teacher's already here. The teacher kept going,
Yeah.
and I'm like, well, what happened here? Without
Yeah.
this sequence,
Yeah.
I'm screwed, man. Like, and
I
so I
said the
either got
same
to go back
thing.
and fill it in, or I just like, okay, well then I'll try and catch up. I'll jump across,
Yeah.
but then I missed a critical piece. So
I
yeah,
told
that.
them I was like, if I can't map it, I probably don't understand
Mm,
it.
yeah.
So about a week and a half ago, I tried to install a light at the front of the house,
Mm-hmm.
and that was successful.
Mm,
But Shanna was talking to somebody, and she was like, "Yeah, it's really a 15-minute task. They ended up taking 2 hours." And I admit that because I was like, we had three sets of breakers in here. I didn't know which breaker it
mm-hmm.
was. And then
Right.
the Walmart instructions for this lamp were like connect the wire to the wire and then the wire to the wire
And the
and
wire
then the
to
other
yeah,
wire to
yeah.
the other wire.
Sometimes
And
those
I'm like,
Walmart instructions,
yo, yeah, I
it's
was,
like it's like 2 pages, and it's like steps A through D, and A C to D, B to C is like
yeah, yeah,
damn, it was in the box and then now it's already mounted and
yeah,
all you have to do
yeah,
is connect these wires. Like, what the hell happened?
yeah, yeah. So
I remember that.
I was, and I told her, I was like, if there's any questions regarding the instructions or something technical or something could break, I'm very slow. Like I'm
Yeah, yeah.
stupid
No,
slow, as in
yeah,
like,
cautious.
yo,
Yeah.
I'm just the tortoise. Because I'm not having no electrical problems in the house, and I'm
Right.
not bringing
Yeah.
down somebody's software.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
No, and
creep and
because
crawl through it.
like you don't want to, if you rush through this, then that means you got to go back in. And for
Mm-hmm.
me, it's like the task is not complete. That's one thing
Yeah.
I be getting annoyed about too. It's like, okay, when I know I have to do a certain task, especially if it's an undesirable task, like installing something, something that you don't really
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
do, but you need to do it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I only want to do it one time,
Yeah.
and I don't ever want to do it again. So I want that one time to be correct. And that's really the only
Yeah.
time I go slow. Usually I'm good enough with like an 85%, 95, 90%
Yeah.
solution. But when it comes to like stuff like that, I'm like, nah. Because I don't want to
Yeah.
be
I
coming back in
mean,
here, disassembling this,
yeah.
taking it back down, trying to troubleshoot it, figure out
Mm-hmm.
what's wrong with it. Like, nah, man, I want
Yeah.
it one time.
Yeah.
And
I got a
I
notion
oh, go ahead.
uh yesterday to install a toilet now, and was working
Mm,
on that one. And the one thing I learned is that you have to straddle the toilet, put it straight down on the
mm,
wax ring. Don't be messing that up now.
mm-hmm.
So but this toilet, I when I transported it for all the way from Hinesville, apparently I cracked it somehow.
Oh
So that toilet's been sitting
no.
up there for like 4 months, and I cracked the
Oh.
back of it. Now I thought the bowl was functional, and it is. But the back of it, one of the three screw entrances is pretty much done. So
Mm,
let me skip a lot of steps and tell you that by the time I put the tank on the bowl, I couldn't tighten it enough because I was snapping the porcelain, which had already broken. I
right.
tried to use some seal, did some seal to put it
Didn't
back
take.
together,
Yeah.
and then they said, okay, pour some water in there to see if it leaks. It leaked. It did. That was on Friday. But
Yeah.
I was like, okay, wait a minute though. I'm not dead yet. I'm not dead
Right.
yet because if the leak is coming from here, then I can just bail this water from the tank and then use some of that clear sealant, waterproof,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe, airtight it, make it
Right.
airtight back there. The results are inconclusive. I'm gonna have to go back
Oh
up there and make
wow.
sure that there's not water on the floor. But
Yes, to go
but
check. Yeah.
I was really slow. I was really, really, really slow.
Hey man.
And that toilet might actually be functional. It might. It might. I did everything right. And I'm paying the price for my cracked bowl, but anyways, this is
Well,
just
I like
stuff.
that.
I
I
guess
I like
just
that we're talking
you
kind
know.
of education because it kind of goes to the actual topic that we had talked about
Mm-hmm.
a couple talking about a couple of weeks ago. Before we
Mm-hmm.
got on this recording. you know, and we talk about AI and things a lot on this podcast, but I mean, that's because we're trying to find ways to actually use this stuff to where
Mm-hmm.
it's actually helpful. And it is. It's just
Yeah.
gotten so powerful. So I had mentioned that I had found a new use for ChatGPT when
Mm.
it comes to Japanese. And so basically, what I started doing just a couple of weeks ago is I'm translating Cereus and Limnic, my science fiction
Mm.
novel, into Japanese. But I'm
Yeah.
not just telling ChatGPT translate this into Japanese. I'm doing two awesome things. One thing I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing is I'm telling it to not only translate but localize.
Mm.
This is
Mm-hmm.
the power of ChatGPT, like to localize the story into something that Japanese audiences would recognize.
Hmm.
So, for instance, when I hit a certain character, what does Barto Cooney's character look like optimized for a Japanese audience? That's something that
Mm.
ChatGPT can help me with, as
Yeah.
far as the dialogue and how he speaks and things like that. And that's something that you throw it into Google Translate. You even throw it into like DeepL Translator or just like a vanilla
Yeah.
translator, just like word for word. You're not going to get that localization that you would get if a native
Yeah.
speaker were reading this and knows English and Japanese enough to okay make that translation. So that's the first thing that's really powerful. The
Mm.
second thing I'm doing is I'm using it as a Japanese language tutor.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I prompt it to say I'm going basically one sentence at a time and I say
Mm-hmm.
translate this into Japanese, but then if I type the word grammar, then explain the grammar concepts in each sentence.
Ah. Yeah.
So you basically get an all-in-one type of tutoring solution. And by the way, I have it to
Yeah.
where it's voice, to where I downloaded a plugin for my chat GPT to where
Nice.
when it
You just
writes the
talk to it.
Japanese, well, I can
Hmm?
talk to it, but it can talk to me as well.
Oh, oh, wow. That's pretty
Yes.
dope.
So I can
Yeah.
hear when it types Japanese back to me, it reads it out in a Japanese voice, in a native speaker voice.
Oh, very cool.
So basically, I've basically created an all-in-one language tutor and
Yeah.
translation assistant localization for Japanese with just a
Yeah.
few paragraphs of natural language text with ChatGPT.
Yeah. Prompt
It's
master.
amazingly
I've,
powerful.
I've
It's
seen I've seen your prompts.
Yeah, you've
You
seen
be
some of my
writing
prompts, man.
books.
I go
You be
hard with
writing
prompts.
you be writing books. Yo.
I'll be writing novels and prompts, man.
Improv. Yo.
But
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
super powerful, man. And that's just and I use a bunch of other tools too to help me with my Japanese, but
Yeah.
I think this is something that if you're in education or you have
Yeah.
kids, and you're thinking about, hey, how's this AI stuff going to affect? Because we're
Yeah.
heading into another school year, and I feel like this
Yeah.
school year, kind of like the COVID school year, is going to
It's
be
gonna separate the
it's
wheat
going to
from
be
the chaff
pivotal.
in terms
I
of who's
think
who's
so.
forward looking in their schools and stuff.
Absolutely.
Okay, look. So this is a commercial in the middle of Keith's description. You want to be prepared for AI, like to be AI ready. What do you need to learn? Prompts.
Yeah.
Learn how to. You need to learn the right text to type into these things to have it
Right.
produce whatever you're trying to produce. That's it.
Exactly.
One word.
Yeah.
Prompts. Learn prompts. Learn how to type stuff into Chat GPT or OpenAI or OpenArt or all those guys, and just I mean, if you know how to do it, then learn the parameters.
Yeah.
I can't tell you what they are because it depends on whether you're doing text or doing
Yeah.
art, and there's some learning freedom and stuff like that in there. But if you know prompts and you know at least a couple of parameters, uh, like 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 I think I mentioned this in the last episode. I work with generative art, so Keith, you
Mm-hmm.
work with generative
Yeah.
text.
I've used some too.
And
Mm-hmm.
for me, I need to know, I said this last time, but for what I'm generating, I need to know the right model to use because they're different. There's realistic models and then there's less realistic models. I need to know the CFG scale, creative freedom, or something like that is how you can think of it. That's probably not what it is, but think of it like that. There's a level that I set mine at, and I know what styles to apply in my
Right.
prompts. Those three things could let me, if there were a role in, say, marketing or technical writing, or not technical writing, but like any kind of art generation or something like that, then I could be hired or have the skills for
Right.
that kind of role.
Exactly. And
But
I think this is
yeah,
something we should explore doing in the future because I have not been able to get, I've tried, I've not been able to get Stable Diffusion successfully to work on my computer. And I'm missing like one
mm,
dependency or something like that. I don't know. Maybe you
yeah,
could help me troubleshoot it sometime. But
okay,
I've
okay,
been
yeah,
using Midjourney a lot.
mm-hmm,
So Midjourney is like, if you haven't heard of it, Midjourney is probably it is right now, the highest quality image generator out right now. Like the Midjourney
hmm,
images, these are the images that you've seen online that look like
mm-hmm,
photorealistic or they look
yeah,
like art super artistic and things like that. Just so
yeah,
much detail. Midjourney is just so powerful when it comes to
yeah,
creating.
yeah, yeah.
Just it
Now,
doesn't compare. It doesn't compare the
so what I would
quality.
add though is that uh, that's the default model,
Yeah,
but the models that they have for Stable Diffusion are like, I mean, that's real stuff. I mean, it looks photorealistic because
very
it
true.
depends on the
Yeah,
model,
Stable
right?
Diffusion is, and they just released Stable Diffusion XL a couple of weeks ago. It's not
Mm-hmm.
far behind. And Stable Diffusion, as far
Yeah.
as customization, it beats Midjourney because Midjourney is, you can only interact with it with that single model. I mean, you can use the older models too, but it's not like Stable Diffusion to where you can just download a different model. You can download ones that
Yeah.
create videos. You can download ones that can
Mm-hmm.
kind of do body scan types things. There's so much stuff you can
Yes.
do with Stable Diffusion that makes it a very versatile tool if you're looking
Yeah.
for that more, if you want more freedom and flexibility for what you're creating.
So
You can create
you
anything.
built an all-in-one Japanese translator, so we parallel often, and
Yeah.
I built um, it's, how do I compress this? I built basically an all-in-one astro researcher, so
Mm.
so effective that I might consider reading charts again. Um, because
Very
let
nice.
me tell you what I'm doing, bro. So you know I'm translating asteroids,
Yeah.
21,000 asteroids, and it's a multi-year project. I've got about 25%. I've got like 6,000 asteroids left to translate, and I've done 16,000 so far over the last year and a half. And my Excel spreadsheet that has the text mine and all the statistical significance and stuff, I feed into Stable Diffusion.
Mm.
Well, I do some stuff on it, and I compress each asteroid's list of 20 words or something
Right.
into a prompt. And because I'm using the API for Stable Diffusion, that means that I don't have to be there, right? It's just doing a loop, and it's a
Right.
multi-day loop. And yo, bro, I'm having it produce um, three images using one model and then three images using another model. It's going through
Hmm.
38,000 lines, and my other computer, this, which is why I'm in this room now, has been running this for like 6 days, and it's
Wow.
produced something like a total of 40,000 images representing these asteroids. And so, in the meantime, while that computer is kicking out AI generated art with no humans around, bro. No,
That's
nobody
amazing.
around. I'm
That's
in
awesome.
here on this computer, and I went into Nime and cloud stuff so I can pull it
Yeah.
onto this computer.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
there's this database viewer where I could put in my chart, your chart, anybody's chart, and not just look at their, oh, here's your sun, here's your moon, but hear the
Hmm.
other 21,000 asteroids and what they say
Wow.
about your life. And I have it kick out this thing with the asteroid, the section, the translation, the three images, and some other tags that I put in there. And it's like the ultimate astro hacker, bro. The
Oh, that's
ultimate
cool.
astro hacker. So
That's
I'm
what's
doing
up.
that, and we need to talk offline later about your
Yeah.
intracartography stuff
Oh,
because
yeah, yeah. That would
saving
be.
humans is data, dude.
Yeah,
I
man.
there's some interesting stuff with that. and
Yeah, super
I'm
interesting.
putting together the graphs, graph theory stuff for
Mm-hmm.
this action leads to that action leads to that action, but I've got a much easier way to do it, and combining it with my all-in-one Astro Reader and stuff. Yeah, you can like hack the mess out of it. So you can look right at the line and you say, well, how do I make all that money? I want to
Right.
make money. I want to make a lot of money. And
Right.
said, well, okay, look, I can find it in your chart and tell you here it is, right? So like the section that has big money in my chart is very similar to effectiveness at work.
Mm.
I have to be on a team with two people or three people.
Hmm.
Otherwise, it it's not the same.
Right.
And that's pretty much everybody, right? Everybody has some stuff that they are going after that they haven't found as
Right.
easy to
Of
get.
course.
And part of the reason is because there's stuff that those outcomes are contingent on, and
Right.
they don't know this. So you're like, oh, I want to live the greatest life, but you don't know that somewhere in your chart, um, your friend who helps get you there is actually not a friend. It's a robot or it's a TV
Right.
show or
That's funny.
something, or
Yeah,
you
some
don't know
abstract.
that your
Yeah.
your best party, yeah, the best party you could possibly throw, uh, is you, the dog, and a vacation spot which is moved away from where you currently live. So you don't know these
Mm-hmm.
things. And
Right.
but now that I'm starting to have pictures of these asteroids and stuff, it's easy to know, like
Right. Yeah,
because
you
I
can
mean you
just
can
look and
see the
see.
200 asteroids that are sitting in the area of, you know, happiness of the job or giving updates to people, and there's an area for giving updates to people at the end of Scorpio. I
Mm.
mean, like no joke, like statistics, bro. I know you know this. I'm maybe
Yeah.
preaching to the choir, but yeah, I
But it
just
just
I just
shows it shows the power for this
the
stuff, man. Like
power, yo, yeah.
that workflow that you just described, like you've got
Yeah.
an automated process creating generated images, and then you go to another computer and then you're pulling it down and automatically processing those, and then you can actually use it for an actual task, something that's actually
Mm-hmm.
valuable. I feel like
Yeah.
that's just scratching the surface of what these things can do. And
Mm-hmm.
just 2 weeks ago, I think ChatGPT they released the code interpreter. And had you heard about this code
Oh,
interpreter?
no.
Okay,
What
so
is
what
that?
this code interpreter does is it can, before everybody knows that ChatGPT can write code. That's kind of like
Mm-hmm.
it was, in the beginning. But now,
Yeah.
not only can it write code, it can execute it and debug it
Oh.
on its own.
Oh. Whoa.
To
Nice.
powerful effect. Yeah. So as a
Yes.
data guy, I can see you already smiling because you know how
I don't
valuable
like
this
code. I don't like code, man. I'd be glad to have a robot do it for me. Yeah.
how valuable this is, right? So
Yeah.
for a couple of weeks, I wasn't using it because I was like, well, I'm the opposite. I don't really work with data very much, like a lot of data to where I would want to do stuff with it. Because
Yeah.
a lot of people are talking about how, oh, it's kind of a data science killer because it can clean data, it can sort data, it can visualize data, all the stuff that a data scientist would do.
No.
It can do it just after a few text commands. So what
Yeah.
I
I
did
don't
was I
know.
was like, okay, let's try and find something this can do that's not related to data, which was actually kind of tough on Twitter, but I found it. And what I did was what a lot of people don't know is a lot of the visualizations that you see and a lot of stuff on commercials, TV shows, and things like that. That's code that does that. Video games,
Mm-hmm.
movement, things like that. So just panning pictures and doing that. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, let me try and make a quick video. So I did it.
Hmm.
I generated 5 pictures of Janus, the antagonist from Cereus and Limnic
Mm-hmm.
from my sci-fi novel,
Yeah.
and I just wanted it to zoom out. That's it. Very simple.
Oh, nice. Uh-huh.
Very simple. And I generated the 5 images, and they're all like zoomed out images. So it starts out real close up, but then it gradually zooms out. And then I told
Mm.
ChatGPT, make this into a 10-second video. Here's the parameters that I want, and go. And I tell you, man, the first time you see this shit work,
Yeah.
it's like watching something out of Star Trek or something. Like
Oh,
it just
yeah,
starts
yeah.
working. and then it's got the powerful
Yo.
ChatGPT logic behind it. So it's like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I see you're trying to make this video. First, let's
Yeah.
organize your pictures in a way that's, it makes sense with a sequence that you want. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, one of these was mislabeled. I'll have to reorganize
Oh yeah.
those for you. And it's
Yeah.
telling you this as it's going through
Mm-hmm.
its logic. I think
Mm.
that's the thing that blows me away. Not only is it doing it, but
Yeah.
it's explaining its logic as it does
Yeah.
it.
That's nice. That is
So it
nice.
does it, and then it's like, okay, I'm unzipping this zip file because it can manipulate files as well too.
Yeah.
So you can
Yeah.
upload the files. So I upload the files, it does it, and then it's telling me it's zipping. It's like, okay, now let's process this into a video, a .mp4 video, and does it.
Mm.
Here's the link for your video. I download it,
Nice.
done. Under 5 minutes. Under
So
five
okay. So
minutes for
look.
it to make it. Yeah.
So I was talking to Shannon about this, and she was mentioning the actor strike. I don't follow any media,
Oh right,
so
yeah, yeah. I had heard about that.
I don't know anything about this. I only know what
Yeah,
she's told me. But she says, yeah, part of what they're striking is that they don't want to be replaced by AI. I don't know if
AI.
this is a
Yeah,
thing or if it's not a thing. I'm
yeah,
like, okay, but and what I was telling her is that yeah, but I mean, obviously, you, you can't say this to a bunch of striking actors or as a group, but
right.
the future is in the I don't want to say the metadata, but it's in the concept. There's so much
Yeah.
more in the concept, and it's kind of like I can imagine some folks way back when saying, "What do you mean? You're some company that's trying to build my
Mm-hmm.
house? Hey, I
Right.
build my
Yeah.
own
I
house.
built my own house. Yeah.
What are
Of
you
course.
talking about? Where are they getting the wood? How they're
Mm-hmm.
charging too much to
Right.
build my
Right.
own house?" I'm like, yeah, okay, but now you can shift your attention to the design of the house, and you can actually try to be
Mm.
comfortable, or
Right.
you could shift your attention to some other things, feeding your
Right.
family, for example. And I imagine if I wanted to act, and I were not so good an actor, but I was really good with prompts and videos and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, maybe far, far, far in the future, like 10 years or something like that,
That's
there will
not
be,
far.
I know, but I'm just saying this is not the way it would be now because right now
Of course
one
not.
might
Yeah.
think that they could use it to you could use it to cheat and generate like fakes
Right.
and stuff
Right.
like that,
Of
and
course.
that's going to be coming reliably, I think, soon.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm thinking about an industry on that. So
Mm.
you
Mm.
wouldn't hire me as an actor, you would hire me as a provider of concepts.
Right.
So
Right.
you don't necessarily care to see me in front of the camera. What you do care is to give me the script and prompt my role
Right.
into
There
the
it is.
footage. This
Yeah.
is going to be a thing, I'm sure. And if it
It
wasn't
is.
going to be a thing, here, world, I'm handing it to you now as an idea.
Right.
You won't be hiring the actors. You'll be saying, okay, I like your prompts, I like your video. And instead of a standard audition, they may have something where like, look, we got 10 people in a room, come up with a scene on your computers or whatever
Mm-hmm.
of you performing Hamlet, just a
Right.
snippet from Hamlet. Go. You got 10
Right.
minutes.
Right.
And these 10 people auditioning are sitting there on the computer and they have themselves already AIable, right,
Mm-hmm.
in
Yeah.
there. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
say a
Scanned in data.
image of Ajani
Mm-hmm.
performing Hamlet, but the art is in the
Right.
prompt. Uh, Dark hair, menacing glare, slight street tinge, boom, right? 10 minutes is up.
Right.
Everybody, we're gonna go
Yeah.
person by
Let's see your
person.
auditions.
Your 2 minute. Let's see your 2 minute rendition, AI'd rendition of yourself in Hamlet.
Right.
Going to be a
Right.
thing, bro. And
Oh,
maybe
absolutely.
there's some
Yeah.
actors who are like, man, I really
Yeah.
want
No,
to
yeah.
do 50 takes or something like that because it's fun.
Exactly. Yeah.
But
And I
and
think
it'll
that's
still
what
be
some
there.
people think. Yeah. They
But
think it's,
yo,
it's
the
the same. I've heard the
possibilities though.
same. It is. I've heard the same in music. I've heard the same. And this is another thing. I've done a few new AI experiments since we last talked. I did one. There's this very awesome AI music generation service called Traxy.
Mm,
And what I did with
mm,
Traxy, they're coming out with a feature that you can give it any instrument riff or stem, an 8 bar
mm.
piano, guitar riff, whatever, and it will make a finished track.
Nice.
And
Nice.
and when I say finished, it's not like it's still very kind of repetitive and circular. So that's
Yeah.
kind of the challenge, but it sounds good. And what I've been doing is I've been
Yeah.
taking the output of that and then kind of like remixing it, like rearranging it and adding some of my own
Yeah.
parts. And if you want, I'll have to put this in the description, but if you want to hear an
Yeah.
example of this, my track 57 that I just put out,
Mm.
it's called I Am Janus. It's meant to go
Mm.
with the I
Mm-hmm.
Am Janus chapters of Cereus and Limnic.
Yeah.
Half of that song is AI generated,
Nice. Oh,
but then there's parts that were played in by me. And so,
cool.
and I made this song, I mean, maybe it's like 3.5 minute songs. I made
Mm-hmm.
this song in probably like an hour or two.
Mm.
The AI
Mm-hmm.
came out with the base content. I took it into Ableton, remixed it, played a few parts in, of
Mm-hmm.
course, mixed it to where I liked it, and then full song, 2 hours.
Yeah. Dude,
Yeah.
when I was talking to Shanna about the actor strike, I was like, you know, the, uh, I think for me it pays to be a, spiritual person because I
Mm,
feel like you're gonna have your energy regardless.
right.
And we're too attached to the material manifestation, like the
Right.
apparent version of ourselves.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that I'm going to lose the ability to stand up the
Exactly.
two by
Yeah.
fours in my own house.
Yeah.
And but what I don't know is that that two by four standing up experience is going to move over to something else. That's that whole
Energy transfer.
asteroid thing that I'm looking at, right? Because it's this idea that you have the energy of this family of stuff, but there are
Mm,
lots of ways to manifest that energy. And just because you're going to have uh, artificial intelligence kind of doing some of the current material,
right.
you still have to feed that. You still have to feed what you want into it, and your
Exactly.
energy is going to
It
move
is, yeah,
just
absolutely, and that's and that's kind of my pushback because a lot of people's, and I've heard and read this argument a few times on Twitter, on social media in general, that it's the death of creativity, it's the death of the craft. Like you said,
no,
instead of the 50 takes,
no,
this is the argument, right? It's
yeah.
instead of the 50 takes of acting, you're just creativity is just keystrokes. Instead of just feeling the music and going in and experimenting and coming out with something on the other end, now you've got a large language model. Instead of writing the great American novel or whatever, now you've just got a computer. And I see you shaking your head because I feel the same way. I'm like that.
It doesn't make
It,
sense because
it
someone has to enter the stuff into the computer very minimally.
that's what I say exactly. This stuff. The large language model is not to the point to where it's just producing these things on its own yet. And I don't know if we ever wanted to do that. Right now, the way it is it has to wait to be told, and then it has to take
Yeah.
exemplars from all over the internet to actually create something. It's no different than us as people. Like you can't create something from nothing. It's really, I don't know.
So,
Like I don't think you can. Like you have to. I love this meme that I saw. It's the Will Smith "I Am
hmm
Robot" scene,
hmm
and he's talking to the robot in "I Am Robot," and he's like, "Robot, can you create code without copying from other people?" And then the robot goes, "Can you?" And it's just Will Smith like this. Because it's true. Like
It's true, yo.
how can you do anything? Anything, like, think about
Yeah.
it. And if you sit up there shaking your head like, hell with this. This is bullshit. Like, no. Like you went to school for X amount of years to learn how to copy what your teachers knew, what your parents
Yeah.
knew, what your friends
Yeah.
knew. And then eventually you chose certain things to like get good at, but then you forget, like, how did you get all that stuff in your brain? Like, even if
hmm
you are an artist, you're the most bleeding heart artist and you're a painter or you're a musician or whatever, how did you get that in you? You took lessons, you practiced, you copied from people who wrote
hmm
books on how to
Yep.
play an instrument or how to act or how to write code or how to write novels or whatever. I know I did. That's the
hmm
way we learn. That's as humans. That's how we learn. We copy things. That's how every animal learns. They copy things from their parents and from other
Yeah.
animals.
Yeah.
And so this large language model, that's I think people don't understand when you change your framework to it's an animal and technology form. It's a very powerful reasoning machine that is good at copying things, but also just like a human, it's very good at remixing certain things. Certain things it's not so good
Mm-hmm.
at, but there's a lot of things that it is really good at. And I think
Yeah.
once you change your frame of mind to this thing's copying me, this thing is stealing my work and stealing other people's works, like it, you've stolen a lot of stuff. I've stolen
Yeah.
stuff. Everybody's a damn thief. Like
Yeah.
when you think about it, and that's the thing when I think about these large language models, everybody has been stolen from. If you've
Mm-hmm.
put anything on the internet in the last 25 years, which you probably have, you've been stolen from. Like in that sense of the word. So I think it's changing our framework, our mindset around how we define
Yeah.
value, how we define what's important to us as humans, because it's for us to define. The large language models can't do it. We are programming these models. I
Mm-hmm.
don't care if it's XAI or if it's Facebook's thing or if it's Google's thing, whatever. We're programming this stuff as humans. We have to program our values into what we want them to see and what they're doing. And every company's having a different approach to this. But
Mm-hmm.
I think as people, I think if you're one of those people that is, like this actor strike, and then there was a writer strike a couple of months ago over
Mm-hmm.
similar, issues related to AI that was a part of it, then I don't know. I think you have to redefine what's valuable
Mm-hmm.
to you. If the process is valuable, then still do the process. Like that's what I do with music. Like some
Mm-hmm.
songs, I don't
Exactly.
mind doing an AI generated track. Other songs,
Yeah.
I'll tell you this, Ajani, I hadn't told you this. I sang my first track,
Okay. Okay.
and I'm going to
Awesome.
debut it in the next episode of Cereus and Limnic. But yeah,
Okay.
I this track was zero AI. I played everything in. I
Yeah.
modeled it
Yeah.
off of a song that I really like. My singing was okay, but
Okay.
this was a track that I felt like I just wanted it to be all me, even if it was
Yeah.
imperfect and even if it didn't
You
sound
know,
right.
so that's funny, and I think I
The
feel
point
so
is you can
bad for
choose.
folks
You
that,
can choose.
yeah,
The AI
exactly,
is going to be
exactly.
there to support certain things and then it can fast track
Yeah,
it. But if you are that person that's like, no, that's bullshit. I've got to paint my own stuff. I don't want to use Mid Journey or Stable Diffusion. Then do it.
yeah, yeah,
Then do
exactly.
it.
And so I
Nobody's
told
stopping
Santa the
you.
same thing. I said, look, there's some things I might use it for, and there are other things I'm just going to keep making my subpar
Exactly.
whatever because I like
You
it.
know,
I don't care,
I like it. And,
you
and
know.
I've gone back and forth with writing with AI. Like I've
Uh-huh.
gone through different, ups and phases where I've tried it, where I've been like, okay, I can use the AI here and there. But I just realized like I like writing. Like I like
Yeah,
writing on my
yeah.
own. And I feel like writing is a good teaching device. It's so good for
Mm-hmm.
teaching. Like if you have a specific way you want students to learn how to write and you say just put it in the AI a
Yeah,
couple of times and then see what the AI, get a few iterations. And then after you
yeah,
do it a few times, you're like, oh, that's how you write the hero's journey. That's how you
yeah,
write a business letter or something. You'll learn it. And then
yeah.
after a while, if you want to continue using the AI,
The,
that's
the,
fine. But then you
yeah,
don't because you know how to do
you
it.
know, yeah. And the thing
Yeah,
about that is that ultimately, at least as of right now, uh, what you get out of the AI is still going to be like one person's personality for
exactly.
the output that you immediately got.
Right.
And a lot of the richness in our experience is that you have multiple personalities
Exactly.
to
That you can
compare to.
draw on.
So you
Yeah.
say, hey, generate this thing for me. It's going to speak to you in a certain way. And this is what I don't like about
Mm,
AI writing
yeah.
because
Me too.
and
Same.
you know me, I get real picky and I trust is a big deal for me. And if
Yeah.
somebody is patronizing me or speaking down to me or giving me boilerplate stuff,
Yeah.
taglines and propaganda and stuff, that gets on my nerves. And so
Yeah.
when they say write this at an eighth grade reading level, and when I read certain articles and it reads like an eighth grade reading level of
Mm-hmm.
somebody like a Gee Whiz science
Right.
rag,
Right. Yeah. Did
yo,
you know?
that pisses me off. And that's not, yeah, exactly. Did you know? And it's because we're seeing a lot more of this, right? You go online
Yeah. I know.
and you looked up an article and you don't know who wrote this article. And
Right.
this article's like, I'm going to tell you about the benefits of studying physics. A lot of people don't want to study physics,
Right,
but
right.
physics
This
is
type
very
of
valuable. And let
bullshit.
me
Yeah.
tell you about the study. I'm
Let me
like,
tell
okay,
you
you're
about.
fluffing me up. You're
Yeah, yeah.
fluffing
It's
me up
all
now.
fluff. Yeah, it's
You're
all.
getting on
Yeah,
my
I know.
nerves.
And there's a lot of that stuff that's coming out thanks to AI. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
But you
but
can
I
tell
mean,
that. And just like any
you
person,
can.
you can choose whether or not you want to put into that or listen to it or whatever. It's just one other
Yeah,
kind of personality. And
it
if
is.
if they don't like that actor, they don't like the. So what? Look, you know what's not going to be replaced? Sorry, what AI is not going to replace? At least for the next couple of years. This freaking physics in these action movies. We still got
That's
it wrong,
funny.
or maybe the AI will do better. Look, Mom was watching Wonder Woman, like the end of Wonder Woman or Thor or something like 2 years ago, and like she punched somebody or somebody punched
Yeah, yeah.
somebody, and
Fly
I
back.
swear she flew
Yeah,
across. Yeah, she flew across with. Yeah, and no
just gone.
gravity, no
Yeah,
nothing, man. It was
yeah,
like
yeah,
playing one of those video games where your character jumps and hit the ceiling, and then they just
yep,
stay in the air until the gravity would have brought them
yeah,
down.
yeah.
It's like
No,
that, and I see this happen in these movies. I'm like, that's bad, and
yeah.
I don't like movies that do that. Where they just Anyway, I said
Somebody need to
AI
fix
is
these
not going
physics.
to
Yeah.
replace that, but maybe it should because to be honest, it sucks as physics. They'll be making these Transformer movies, and the robot or Optimus Prime, whatever's coming
Oh
out of the
no.
ground, and he looks
Yeah.
like a big garbage dump. That
Yeah.
I thought Optimus Prime was clean. Now
Yeah.
he looked
Yeah.
like a landfill standing
Why
up,
he got all that
and then
stuff on him?
and
What's
yeah,
wrong
he's
with
got
him?
all these like cars and stuff on him, and he's swinging around, and it's not realistic to me. I'm like,
Yeah. Nah.
bread and circuses. Okay,
Yeah.
bread and circuses, bro.
Nah, man.
Anyway, I
But
digress.
yeah, so we're gonna cut it off here because we hit an
Yeah,
hour. But once we still get talking about these things, like it is an interesting conversation, man. With this, like what AI looks like, and it's interesting because the AI initial hype has kind of cooled down, like from the surge
yeah.
from after ChatGPT
N- Now
launched.
people getting more realistic about what they're
I
going to do with it.
well, I think so, and I think I was reading something last night that people were like, unlike previous technologies like the internet or crypto and Web3, you don't really have to convince people really hard that the AI in certain applications, right? Let's not talk
Mm-hmm.
about generative AI. That's a different, but
Mm-hmm.
like AI in general, like AI in your um what is it? Like in your word processing, like in
Yeah.
Microsoft Word or
Oh
like
yeah.
in Google Docs or something. I feel like that's
Yeah.
a great place for AI. Certain
Yeah.
things where it's just like if it's boilerplate stuff that's very repeatable, repetitive that, I
Mm-hmm.
remember there's a lot of this stuff that I used to write in the military where it's like it's the same thing every time. And we would have
Yeah.
like templates, but with AI it allows you to customize a little bit more to where, you
Yeah.
don't have to just use the boilerplate. You can actually say, hey, Sergeant Joe, Sergeant Jane, whatever. Here's this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody has a problem with that. I think that's just like cool,
Yeah.
and that's why we've seen so many AI stuff just be tacked on to certain software products in the last
Yo,
4 or 5 months.
9.5 comes out this Thursday.
Mm,
AI has AI in it. I'm a
yeah,
Nime evangelist. AI in it. You say, help me make a workflow, and it's popping
right,
up nodes on it.
exactly. Those types of things,
I love Nime, dude, and
whatever
they're gonna
your
do this.
platform and
Yeah,
software of choice, when they
yeah,
AIify it, I mean, why not use it?
yeah,
Especially if you're a regular
yeah,
user, you're going to use it. But I think the harder thing is in other places, like innovating with AI, truly innovating, like something like you were talking about, like this model to where, you know, you're basically making an AI asset of yourself, and then you can
mm-hmm,
put that asset into a video game, into a
yep,
movie, and you
yep,
own your asset. That's something
yep,
that I feel like that's coming. It
yep,
needs to come sooner than later, but it's not
yep,
there yet. We just don't have applications and software. Our software is still legacy to where you log in and you get your
yeah.
password and stuff, but we're going to
And
need
also, there's
some
some
new stuff.
infrastructural stuff that's
There
gonna
is
be needed in order to
the
pass that
technology
around.
stuff, the
And
back
these
end.
are the new
Yeah,
fields. While people are worried about the old, stand up
exactly.
the post going away, the new field where you have to go from business to business and market yourself like here, instead of here's my resume, here's my AI
Right.
person
Here's my code to
doing
my
this.
avatar
Here's
or to
here's
my
here's my
voice.
code to my avatar who
Yes.
will who will solve these problems using that's
Right.
going to be yours,
That's coming
right?
in. And
But
I feel like that's where the
you know,
fusion of Web3, blockchain, crypto, all
Yeah,
that stuff,
blockchain.
and
Yeah, yeah,
AI, that's where when they meet
yeah.
in like a good way, it's
Yes.
going to allow us to do stuff like that to
This
where
is
you're
my avatar,
secure,
and this is what my avatar has created.
and then I can capture
And
value from my
yo,
avatar.
financial
That's
systems for
yeah,
that stuff, trading like
absolutely.
markets for that
Yep.
stuff.
How
It's
would you?
it's
I know I want my avatar working for me as I sleep.
you know what I'm
I want
saying?
him doing voice work. I want
Hey,
him in video
that
games. I want him going to auditions. Avatar
yeah.
Keith, he gonna be a busy man.
I got a computer up there who's making pictures, which I'm probably going to be able to sell in some shape or form or whatever. He's
Exactly.
doing this. He's been doing this. He's going to keep doing it for another 2 weeks, and then we'll
Exactly,
figure it
man.
out.
But I
But
think it's just like any
you know,
technological paradigm shift. It takes a lot to wrap your head around. And I think like every
hmm
step that's come out, even to the latest with this code interpreter, it took me a couple of
yeah,
weeks to be like, and I was just resistant to it. I'm so used to
yeah,
I've gotten
yeah,
so good at using ChatGPT in its regular form. And then this
yeah,
code interpreter comes out. It looks so powerful, but I'm like,
yeah. Honestly, man,
it's
what I want to
time to
be able to
come.
do in an ideal world is roll around the world like a trust fund baby. Don't have to work for anybody. Got my money from something that wasn't me.
Yep.
Don't have to run a business.
Yep.
Don't have to screw with stuff that I'm not good at.
People.
And I teach spiritual stuff, astro stuff, how to fix the family you broke. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
Like the
mm,
family, not immediate family necessarily, but like friends and stuff, like life experience. I I've gotten into some trouble with some people,
mm.
and like I want to be able to go around and say, here's an asteroid which explains why you might be predisposed to trouble of this kind.
Yeah.
Now, here's what you would need to do to hop into your sociological time machine and fix it. I want to just go around the world teaching that stuff. That's what I would like to do. But guess what? I'm going to need AI doing my other job
Exactly, man.
because
I mean,
there's no other way for me
I'm
to go,
telling you, I talked about
do
this on
that.
a Twitter space last week. Like the AI economy is going to be a thing. The
Yep.
AI economy, and people are talking about how can AI, like the typical economy that we have now, the capitalist economy that we know. I feel
Yeah.
like AI is just going to break that. Like it's not, it
Yeah.
doesn't work with that because it's too fast. It's too powerful. It can
Yeah.
We can't make transactions fast enough to keep up with an AI fueled or
Yeah.
AI run economy. Like
Yeah.
people just can't. People got to
We're
sleep.
going to have
People
to
got to do
redo it.
other things. You can't be
We're going to have
shopping
to
24
reinvent it.
7 or creating
Yeah.
goods 24/7. We can't
Mm-hmm.
move at that scale. But a bunch of AIs,
Mm-hmm.
like your AI avatar, my AI avatar, your AI avatar, person who's listening to this, we all day, every day, 24/7.
That's right.
We could just be on a loop just going.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that is what's coming, probably not in the not too distant future. Maybe I give that maybe 20, 30 years to
Yeah. Yeah.
to start materializing to where people are like, I have an AI avatar. What do I
Yeah.
do with it?
We're going to have
And
our
because
AR,
the first
AI.
the first is to think of it linearly, right? To think of it, okay, well,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a teacher. So obviously my AI
Yeah.
avatar should teach.
Yeah.
It goes and teaches. But it's an AI avatar. It can do it can be in multiple places at once. It's like
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
multiverse thing. Like it can
Yeah.
you can loan out your code. It's like an API. There's no limits to
Yeah.
how many people can be
Yeah.
using it.
Yep.
Think of it that way. Start thinking if you're especially if you're not in
Mm-hmm.
software, start thinking of your skills and knowledge and all your stuff that you know and your connections and your network. Start thinking of that
Mm-hmm.
in like a digital form. What would that look like if there was another person version of me that had the reasoning
Yo.
power of a large language model, which is infinite, but it
Mm-hmm.
also had my experience and my desires, and I can tell it where to be, when to be, what to do.
Yeah.
Think about that. Start thinking about that because
Yeah.
that's and it's a powerful shift. I understand it's a hard shift.
All that spiritual stuff where it says you exist everywhere, you
Yeah,
know? Like I began alma mater, my book with this. Like that's
yeah.
the first chapter. It's on dimensions. And it's this idea that am I located,
Where am I?
5 feet 9 off the ground, or am I located right on the ground?
Right,
I'm located in both.
right.
And that's a very minor example, and it may seem
Yes,
trivial, but it gets us thinking about am I located here in Glenville or am I here in the listener's ear? And
Exactly.
we
Yes.
already do this everywhere all at once
Mm-hmm.
type thing. And if we're one of those people to where, oh, this person, they're reading on this person's good side or reading on this person's bad side, and someone else is reading on a Wikipedia article, but now you're everything, right?
Right.
You have the
Exactly.
ability to actually be, you know, all those things. And what AI does is allow you a vehicle to consciously prompt versions of your creativity
Exactly.
in all those
Exactly.
spaces.
Exactly. And then the more stuff that you have online, like that's curated by you, that's created by you, whether it's writing, painting, whatever you do, the more it's going to have as fuel. Because it's no
Yeah.
good when it's in the physical realm. Like this is all digital
And,
stuff.
yeah. And honestly, man,
So you have to find a way to make it. Yeah.
I'm not trying to sit up here and be like an AI super enthusiast because those kinds of folks
I know.
that
And
gets
yeah,
on my
I have to
nerves. Folks
caveat
riding the
that. I
bandwagon.
definitely have
Yeah,
my doubts and I have my reservations, but we're
yeah,
talking about like this potential of
yeah. We're
ways
talking
to
about the
use the
potential because to be
technology.
honest, we're not going back, yo. I mean, so
Yeah,
it's
you can't.
no. I don't really get on the bandwagon for certain kinds of things and certain kinds of technology, but some things, kind of like I was talking about racing between the two 18-wheelers. Some
Right.
things you better be ready. I
I think
mean,
so.
like
Yeah, I think
we could
that's
we can
yeah.
dodge a lot of other stuff. We could have dodged NFT,
Right.
Web3, TikTok. There's certain things that are new, they're kind of trendy or whatever. You
Right.
can dodge
True.
that because to be honest, you're not going to have to deal with it. You're going to
Right.
have to live in a world of AI though,
I think so.
and
Yeah.
it's healthier to get excited about what you're going to do with it because bitching about it, being scared about it.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
like 5 years, you're not going anywhere.
I think it's
It's
going to be
kind of like
really
that with
hard.
phones. I'm just like,
Yeah.
phones, what the
I
hell,
know. I was the
you know?
same way with
But
phones.
phones are happening. They're here now,
Yep.
and get excited. Find your space in this because
Yeah.
it's a new world,
Find
man,
something.
and
And that's the thing. There's a
you
lot of
can't run from it.
explorations too. There's a lot of places to start and I think I
Yeah,
will put something in the show notes this time. Like if you're listening to this and you're like, okay, man, now I'm interested. Like you've kind of woken me up to what this could be. Read some literature, like read a few articles and just start experimenting. That's why I've said it
yeah,
so many times. Like ChatGPT is free to try.
yeah.
Like it's not behind a paywall, and it is one of the, if not the most powerful AI
Hmm.
model chatbot that you can use right now. It's still very
Hmm.
powerful. There's been a few others that have come up just very recently this month,
Yeah,
but even if you just use ChatGPT, the free version, you're going to
yeah.
learn a lot if you actually try and use it and don't just screw around with it and whatever.
Hmm.
Have an open mind when you try it.
Yeah.
So I think I'll put some stuff in the description but of these notes, but I'm going to cut us off because we're a little bit over. But I do want to make a plug for my newsletter, The Creative Futurist. I actually added a new feature that I think you are going to like as a listener. Basically every Saturday I'm doing a Saturday top 3. This is heavily modeled. Not see, this is one of those things. Can you make something new without ripping somebody off? No, I can't. This I can't. I don't deny it. This is a stolen. I've stolen this from Tim Ferriss. Tim Ferriss does this.
Yeah.
The famous podcaster. Um, he does a 5 bullet Friday, and basically what he does is he finds the five coolest things, books, articles, podcasts, whatever, songs that he thinks are cool, and he shares them with his audience. Of course, I'm no Tim Ferriss. I'm not a bald white guy, but hey, you can come. I have a top 3 that I'm coming out with every week that I'm going
Uh-huh.
to start doing. I just started this last week, and I think this is a great way to
This is the other version. The other
the
other
other
version.
version, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
of his kind of style. Cool stuff that I'm
Yeah.
finding because I read awesome stuff all the time. Stuff that I find on Twitter, newsletters, very insightful things. Results from experiments that I've done related to AI, creative technology, or stuff that I just think will help you grow as just a person. Just help you just think more deeply about things. And of course, you'll still get access to my insightful and commentary about stuff related to creative technology and things that are just helpful to know. I did a long piece on public speaking just a couple of weeks ago, so that was cool. So try it out. It's going to be in the description. It's called The Creative Futurist. that's going to be there. I think you're definitely going to find value with it if you sign up. So, Ajani, you got anything?
Nope.
Cool, cool. All right, so this has been Two Brothers Talking. Thanks a lot for joining us in this episode, and we'll see you in the next one. We'll probably talk some more stuff about probably AI. The words, like I don't know. Maybe we won't. Maybe we won't. But I'll see you next time. Have a great day.
See.